Hey everybody, my name is Endigo, welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna be bringing you a pretty different video from my normal stuff because as of today we are officially less than a month away from the release of PlayStation VR, Sony's new VR headset compatible with the PS4. And let me tell you, I am such a sucker for virtual reality. I bought my Google Cardboard many months ago, probably a year ago I think. Just the concept of virtual reality has been something that I've been so fascinated by since the first time I've heard about Oculus Rift. Now what I have been thinking about for a long time is how well do all of these different units compare to each other. Talking of course about the currently available high-end units, the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, and the PlayStation VR. And the thing is, I've been looking around YouTube for a good while of somebody comparing these to each other hands-on, and I haven't found one. So you know, I'm just gonna do one myself, alright? So let's start from the beginning. My first time trying VR was with this piece of Google Cardboard in my Samsung Galaxy S6 last year, I think. I never tried any of the old Oculus Rift development kits, and I thought the Google Cardboard was amazing. Clearly it was not as cool as these high-end units were gonna be, but I was very intrigued by the concept of VR and what it could potentially be in the future. However, it was not until spring of this year, 2016, before I was finally able to go try out the HTC Vive for myself at a local electronics store here in Sweden. Since then, I've been trying out the HTC Vive on a number of different occasions, last time being in Tokyo, Japan, a few weeks ago, trying it out with a couple of different demos. All in all, I think I've spent about an hour in total with the HTC Vive, so yeah. As for the PlayStation VR, however, I was finally able to try it out this past weekend right here in Stockholm, Sweden. Tried it also for about an hour, tried a couple of different demos. So with all of this said, how do these units actually compare to each other, the HTC Vive and the PlayStation VR? The very first thing we need to talk about is the price difference, because there is a huge price difference between these units. Both are pretty expensive if you're just a casual user like some people, including me, probably will be. The HTC Vive is about $800, and on top of that you need a computer for somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. So you're looking at about $2,500 to $3,000 investment for the HTC Vive if you don't already own a very beefy gaming PC. The PlayStation VR, on the other hand, will cost $400, and you can use it with your PS4 for another $400. Also, you might want to invest in some peripherals like the PlayStation camera that you need to be able to use in the first place, and also the Move controllers, which I highly recommend. So basically, if you want to get into VR and you're gonna buy everything from scratch, the HTC Vive with everything included will set you back almost $3,000, whereas the PlayStation 4 will set you back about $1,000 with PlayStation VR and everything. So now that we have talked about the price, how are these units compared to each other? First of all, let's talk about the HTC Vive. My first impression of the Vive was that it was pretty easy to put on and it fit pretty good around my eyes. Everything looked great. I mean, you can see a bit of, you know, pixels and stuff like that, but that goes for every VR headset available right now in 2016. But you know, once you get into it, after like a minute or so, you do not think about it. You are there. It's very immersive. What supposedly sets the HTC Vive apart from all the other VR headsets currently out there is the two small sensors you put up in the room, one in each corner. And what they do is basically they spread lasers across your room and track your movements, which means that you can walk around the room and have real-time tracking. So you could basically walk around a landscape. And also, of course, the Vive controllers, which I have to talk about, you hold in each hand with different buttons and everything. They track very accurately. You can do stuff like this and you will see yourself doing that in VR. It's very cool if you haven't done it. Basically what that means is that you can basically walk around your entire room, do this kind of stuff with your hands, and it's gonna track it. Now again, I have been trying out the Vive at several different occasions, trying many different demos, including the Space Pirate Trainer, Job Simulator, different zombie games, the Google Brush kind of thing. It's all extremely immersive and it's very difficult to talk about it, but it's one of those things that you really need to experience for yourself. The Vive experience is fantastic, but it's also very expensive. So, you know, in the case of the Vive, I definitely say you get what you pay for. You have to pay for it though. Now enough about the Vive, what about the PlayStation VR, which is coming out in less than a month from now? Let me tell you. I had wanted to try the PlayStation VR for such a long time after spending so much time with the Vive and how responsive I thought that was. Some people who have tried out PlayStation VR at Expos and E3 and stuff like that say it's amazing and it's so responsive. And some people say that yeah, it's pretty good, but the Move controllers suck. And that is the thing with PlayStation VR. Whereas the HTC Vive is pretty much only controlled with these two Vive controllers, the PlayStation VR actually have two different ways to control it. You could either use the normal DualShock 4 PlayStation 4 gamepad that you use to play normal games, or you can use the PlayStation Move controllers, which are basically two remotes with little light bulbs on top, very reminiscent of the Wiimotes for the Nintendo Wii, or even, you know, kind of similar to the HTC controllers. Now, all the criticism for the PlayStation VR that I've read and seen people talking about online is that the PlayStation Move controllers weren't built for the VR, it's not as responsive, it doesn't work very well, it feels very gimmicky. Now, once and for all, let me put an end to all this nonsense. When I got into playing the PlayStation VR, first of all, the headset is extremely comfortable, way easier to put on than the HTC Vive. You basically put it on like a baseball cap, and then the actual visor you can slide front and back with a little button, like... From a convenience standpoint, it's way more easier to grasp your head around, no pun intended. My first fear going into PSVR is that it's gonna be a bit laggy, or something like that. There was no lag at all, no input delay, nothing. It felt extremely natural, definitely as natural, or definitely as, you know, responsive as the HTC Vive. Something I was a bit scared of after having tried Google Cardboard, which, you know, it's pretty cool, but Google Cardboard and all of the kind of VR apps for your phone, they all have a pretty noticeable input delay or input lag. Even if it's kind of minimal in many instances, it's always there. It's pretty much impossible to ignore, at least for me. I need like no latency in VR, which the Google Cardboard does have. But I was very happy to notice that the PSVR has pretty much nothing I did notice. Definitely has no more than the HTC Vive, as much or as little as on the HTC Vive. So whereas input delay goes, PSVR is fantastic. It's extremely responsive. I did not notice any, I was there. It was just like the HTC Vive. So the first demo I got to play in the PlayStation VR was the Heist, taken from the PSVR Worlds game coming to the PS4 in October. In the demo I played, I was seated in a car next to some guy, probably some gangster dude. Basically, we were chased by motorcycles, and he told me to shoot them, and I would like open up the car door and shoot them, and I would have to pick up the gun. But I could also pick up things in the car, kind of like Job Simulator on the HTC Vive when I tried that. I had to reload my gun by like picking up the ammo clip and actually chugging it into my gun, and you know, that was very cool. But the very first thing was like, how responsive are these controllers gonna be, especially compared to the HTC Vive, which I had at this point tried out extensively. I'm happy to tell you that the PlayStation Move controllers for the PlayStation VR works fantastic, and don't believe what anybody else is saying on the internet, because they are probably, I don't know, probably had it set up badly. So what happens in this demo is you are seated in the car, and the PlayStation Move controllers represent your hands. So you can basically look around the car, grab things, open the doors, pick up soda, all of this kind of stuff that I did on the HTC Vive playing Job Simulator. I tried to do pretty much the exact same thing, tried shaking it, see how responsive it was, because I tried doing the same thing on the Vive. And I was so happy to notice that the controllers worked perfectly. Granted, I gotta give it to Vive. The Vive controllers fit very nicely in your hands. Extremely nice ergonomics. The PlayStation Move controllers sadly aren't as nice to hold, but you know, it's just a controller. As for the actual function of the controllers, it worked perfectly. I could do all kind of stuff, felt no delay, it was no problem shooting, and you know, it tracked, in my opinion, tracked perfectly. I also got to try another demo from PlayStation VR Worlds called Into the Deep or something like that, the one where you basically get lowered down into the ocean. This one you had no controls at all. You basically just stood there, watched the ocean surround you, but you could walk around a little, which was actually surprising, because I've been told that the PSVR is basically just a seated experience. That is not the case. You are absolutely able to walk around. I did not try as fully to walk around as I did on the HTC Vive, because the space I had was pretty small, but I could definitely, you know, walk around a little bit, look around. I could even get down on my knees and like look really closely at the floor, or like if I saw some text somewhere, I could bend down and watch it. And that was also very cool. Obviously, I knew that the PSVR was gonna do head tracking, but I did not think it was gonna be on the same level as the Vive. Now, I'm not sure if it is on the exact same level once you're getting into the high-end stuff, but for what I tried doing on the Vive when I played, for example, Job Simulator, was standing around and looking at things, bending over, looking at like computer screens, or reading text, or picking up mugs or tossing them away. I tried to do all that in the PSVR, and there was no problem, which made me very, very happy, because oh my god, I have been so skeptical towards the PSVR. I wanted to believe, but I was kind of like, it's so much cheaper. Is it gonna be worse, the PSVR is fantastic. Coming from me who have played only the Vive and the Google Cardboard. Needless to say, I have pre-ordered my PlayStation VR. I was totally convinced. I was kind of considering getting the Vive because it was so good the times I played it at shops. But I wanted to give PSVR a shot before I actually did that. And after having done so, oh man, Vive is not bad at all, and if you got it or you plan to get it, you will definitely love it. I'm sure I do. But I have to factor in the cost. Also, I'm pretty sure PSVR is gonna be where the games are at, because I got to try one more thing. I got to try the demo for Battlezone for the PSVR. Battlezone was very different because in this you are not using the VR controllers, you are using the standard PS4 controller. You are seated in a tank and you get to look around and you control the tank, so you basically drive the tank like normally, like you would in any kind of first-person game. But you also look around, and this is very awesome. It really makes you feel like you are driving an actual tank with the controller, and you're, you know, you can lean forward, you can lean away. The ceiling of your tank is basically glass, so you can look around while you're driving, see some spaceship coming, you're like, oh my lord, whoop, need to drive around and shoot it. It's all very, very cool, and it works so good, and I could definitely see that becoming definitely a thing for competitive first-person shooters or games in general. Now again, I'm not bashing on the Vive. I'm sure the Vive is gonna have a lot of those experiences as well. All I'm saying is the PSVR is not gonna feel like a letdown if you have tried the Vive and you are curious about the PSVR for the cost or for the games or whatever. The PSVR is not worse. I did not experience anything that would make me think that the PSVR is less of a good value than the Vive. So yeah, sorry for the long video, but I just needed to do one of these comparisons since I have now been trying both pretty extensively. I am getting the PSVR in about a month when it comes out, hopefully, depending on how many they ship to Sweden, I have no idea. But hopefully I will be getting it as soon as possible, and I'm of course gonna start doing PSVR content as well as soon as I can, live streams and whatever, if that's possible, which I think it should be. But yeah, enough ranting. Let me know if you are getting one of these headsets, or if you actually already own one, or if you try them out, or whatever. I'm curious about VR. So with that being said, thanks so much for watching. Very different video compared to what I usually do, but I hope you found it interesting. And if you enjoy VR, make sure to like this video, leave a comment down below, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. Until next time, peace!